Wow, I just had a digital synchronicity! Digital synchronicity. In this video, we're going to talk about mushrooms, the nature of God behind the screen, and everything in between. Join me on this little journey into the nature of digital synchronicity. So let's start off by asking, what's synchronicity? Synchronicity is a term coined by the famous psychotherapist Carl Jung. Synchronicity is sort of infinite coincidence that cannot be reasoned through logic, something that feels almost impossible. Here's an example of synchronicity. A few years back, I was doing mushrooms in Prospect Park in New York City. If you've ever done a psychedelic, you understand that set and setting is paramount. The environment around us very much informs how the trip is going to be. And this particular day was sort of gloomy and dark. I had drank this mushroom brew in the park and started to come up on the trip, but there was no sun, there was no warmth. I felt really cold, and I'm wandering around Prospect Park, the psychedelic forces battering around my head. I was not having a great trip. The come up was kind of rocky. I just wanted to be warmed by the sun, because the sun would offer me the light that I needed to turn this trip around. Now, side note, during this period of my life, I was getting really into the Beatles, and particularly George Harrison. I had just watched his documentary, Living in the Material World. I really resonated with George Harrison's spiritual seeking, and at this point in my life, I felt myself to be one with Harrison. Oh, we're just all looking for God, huh? I was a young dude opening up into this incredible, bountiful world of spirituality, and I felt Harrison's zest for it. Okay, back to Prospect Park. I'm wandering around, cold and scared, hoping the sun could come out, and finally, after a few hours, I looked up, and the sun peered around the clouds, and it hits me with its light, and I'm bathed in its warmth, and without thinking, I just start singing, "Here comes the sun, da-da-da-da, here comes the sun." You know, the famous Beatles song that George Harrison wrote. And as I'm singing this, being warmed by the sun, I look down, and I'm standing on a sewer cap that says, Harrison.
Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun.
In these moments, one feels like they're in the throes of deep, true, cosmic unity. So that's a synchronicity. Okay, what's a digital synchronicity? Well, if you're somebody who works on the computer screen or spends any time through these devices like you are right now, the truth is synchronicity is happening through the screen. Let me give you an example. A couple days ago, I was editing a video called How to Escape the Digital Rabbit Hole. Get me out of the rabbit hole! You've all been stuck in the rabbit hole. And in this video, I'm talking about the nature of YouTube and the algorithm and the endless consumption that keeps us at bay and captures our attention, right? The rabbit hole. And in this piece, I'm talking to the camera, and as I was editing the video, I wanted a piece of footage to cover myself talking. The digital rabbit hole. I want something to signify visually the internet rabbit hole, to reflect to the viewer all the stuff going on YouTube. As any editor does, you find something that goes in front of me speaking. So I go looking for some footage. I mindlessly click onto YouTube, randomly scroll down, and I haphazardly click on a totally random thumbnail of a creator I'd never heard of before named Jake Frew, and I just willy-nilly scrub to the middle of his video, a total flip of the dice, and in that moment that I scrubbed, Jake Frew is talking about
go down a rabbit hole of searching those interests rather than just consuming whatever is fed to you.
Rabbit holes! As I'm making a video about rabbit holes! And what's more is I get pulled into Jake Frew's channel. He makes great stuff, and I found myself swirling through his rabbit hole, stuck in the bowels of YouTube again. Rabbit holes upon rabbit holes upon rabbit holes. And what's even more is that the video I was making originally was starting to actually kind of feel like a rabbit hole. The animations were taking too long. The video wasn't feeling great. Should I just give up? Should I just abandon this? And I was worried, am I just in an echo chamber of a video I shouldn't be making about rabbit holes? Am I stuck in a rabbit hole of a video about rabbit holes?
Go down a rabbit hole.
It's like the screen itself was coherent with my mind and the Adobe Premiere timeline. Oh, through that intersection of coherence, I felt once again, there's an intelligence far beyond my own comprehension. The serendipity of the universe manifests here through the screen. That there is a digital synchronicity. This brand of digital synchronicity happens to me all the time while editing. Whether it's finding the right piece of music, which just serendipitously emerges, or looking for that perfect transition between two clips while editing, the right soundbite to tie it all together. You can't find it, and then suddenly it just appears almost randomly. This randomness has an actual power. It's a force. It's an intelligence. Randomness that seems to be emerging from some hidden hand behind the screen, bigger than the screen. Some force that contains all of this. And as society accelerates into this digital technium, it's more and more paramount that we ascertain spiritual phenomenon here through the screen, that we can feel the presence of God manifest as we work through our processes, our workflows, our content. These are not just ones and zeros, binary, digital, pixelated phenomena. These are spiritual quantum presence that permeate themselves through these devices. Whether it's your computer, phone, tablet, or headphones, pay attention. Feel for the digital synchronicity that's occurring all the time. And if your eyes are open enough, I know you're going to find a whole new divine presence waiting just behind the screen. We're working not just as ourselves, but in tandem with this hidden hand, which seems to reach out in the most unexpected ways and remind us we're all connected in a coherent digital network that's far larger than you could ever imagine. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you later.